All right. All right, everyone, take a seat. My voice, because yesterday I drank too much white wine in the morning and red wine in the evening, I don't know. All right, so last day of the kickoff meeting, we are here, all of us. Sorry, slightly late, okay, but today the program shouldn't be so tight like yesterday, but anyway. We will start with directly, without further ado from my side, with maybe just I want to give, I said it yesterday, table by table I went to give this news today. The program, the morning program is what it's written in the program. Yet for the afternoon, optional field visits if you want. It's not going to be a technical visit, full-blown technical visit. Unfortunately, the person that was supposed to show us something around is sick with COVID. So what we decided to do, it's a touristical sightseeing, short walk, starting at 2, not at 2:30. So a guide will come, whoever wants to join, or at 2, we will have a short walk, and she will tell us, or he will tell us, I don't know if it's a she or a he, something about the city. And at some point, during this short walk, we will stop by the place that I mentioned, Vallone di Mulini, and there I will take the lead for 10-15 minutes. I will give you a booklet, something about landslides in the area, not only here in Sorrento, but in the demonstrator. And so this is the way this visit will happen, 2 p.m., not 2:30. Let's start with the morning program, the important part, the technical part. So I invite here on stage Ilaria Bonetti from Icons. We will start with work package 6. From what I understood, yeah, 2 of them. Okay, Brian as well, please.
Okay, so let's start from the very beginning, which is not that one. Okay. Let's hope that it will work. Okay, here we are. Okay, so welcome everybody. This is the last presentation related to the work package. We are the coordinators of work package 6 that is related to communication, dissemination, and exploitation. And with me there is also Brian from HuT that is sharing the leader of 2 tasks within this work package. So very quickly to remind you about the main objective of this work package. Should I go again? Okay. Okay, perfect. It's not. I should go to the end and then again. Okay. Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is a short list of the main objective of this work package. So the first of them is to support a long-term sustainability of the project. So we would like to communicate during the project duration, but also after, to be sure that what we have done during this period will remain and will have some chance to be exploited even after the end of the project itself. We want to consolidate the project visibility, trying to disseminate its achievement, good practices and guidelines, and create and stimulating internationally synergy with networks, organization, and so on to guarantee a solid post-project exploitation strategy. In the table, you will see how we share the competencies between Icons and HuT. So we, as Icons, have the responsibility of the overall coordination of the work package. and we are responsible for task 6.1 and 6.4. While Matt is leading task 6.2 and 6.3 related to networking. However, what we would like you to know is that we would like to get a joint effort from all of you to maximize the impact of the activities related to communication, dissemination, and exploitation. So we will create, with your help, this local desk that will have an important role for what concerns local dissemination and communication. And we would like to get also experiences, best practice, methodologies, everything that you already have in place related to communication and dissemination of the activities that you already do that can help, as I said, maximizing the project impact. We started from an approach that is considered CDA multi-layered. What does it mean? That communication, dissemination, and exploitation are elements that are strictly integrated one with the other. This is something that is recently requested by the European Commission in the Horizon Europe project, that this connection between these three levels is fundamental. And this has to be also demonstrated within the communication, dissemination, and exploitation plan. That is one of the deliverables that we are going to prepare. So what does it mean? It means that we will foresee from the very beginning an engagement from the stakeholder who represent the subject that can co-produce and further replicate the innovation. In this project, our target is a mixture of subjects. We have institutions, private organization, emergency manager, citizens, journalists, business groups, scientists. So it's several operators that can contribute to our goals. And as I said, one of the main roles will be done by local CDE desk that will be created. Second point is the replicability roadmaps that are also mentioned in Work Package 5. We would like to use the demonstrator experience to try and create a condition for replicability of this best practice in other areas. How we do it using some tools like continuous discussions, workshop questionnaires, website, newsletters, meetings, everything that can help sharing experience and, of course, operating both on a local and international level. In the description of work, this is the list of tasks that are going to be covered by Work Package 6. As I said, 6.1, starting from month 1 until the very end of the project. The 6.2, the starting on month 7. 6.3 and 6.4 as well will start in month 7 and will go until the end of the project. The partners involved are those listed, but please consider that we would like that all of you could feel engaged in these activities. This means that for those that don't have man-months allocated for activities in WUPI 6, we are not asking to do extra effort, but we will ask all of you to have us know, let us know everything you do in terms of communication, dissemination on your local level. So please don't be shy and send us and share with us everything that could be considered as valuable so that we can spread the information. The deliverables related to Work Package 6 as the one listed here. You can see that a couple of them have been considered as public. We still have to check this aspect with the Commission because telling the truth, in a couple of cases, we normally consider these deliverables as private or confidential because they contain some sensitive data. So this is an issue that will be checked soon with the Commission. So, starting from task 6.1, the objectives of the strategy that we are going to design are to develop this strategy related to communication, dissemination, and exploitation, produce a plan. The plan is the physical output that is going to be submitted to the Commission, and that is the deliverable 6.1. We will monitor the effectiveness of this strategy during the whole project. We are responsible for designing the visual identity. You already have a first idea related to the logo that we designed just before this kickoff meeting. We will launch the project on online channels. If you already surfed in Twitter, you saw that we posted from 2 days ago information related to the kickoff meeting. And of course, we will set up local CD desk for each pilot to try and guarantee a broad outreach and engagement at all levels. This is the repetition of the activities that belong to this strategy. You see that in the first 6 months we will be very busy since we are going to deliver the plan, the visual identity, which contains brand book, Word and PowerPoint templates, and communication channel. And in parallel, we will start with the communication kit. The plan for communication and dissemination will include, as I said in the very beginning, also the part related to exploitation, which means that we will map the project's key exploitable results, and we will design a replication and sustainability plan for each partner, and we will start designing activities to simulate the collaboration with the networks involved in the project. In parallel, we will identify the target groups, and this will request an effort because according to the target groups, we will define the key message that we want to share, the CD tools, so communication and dissemination tools, and the definition of the KPIs. In this list, where you see the star, it means that the activity has been already done. So we organized with Unisalerno a brand identity exercise, which means a meeting during which we share some information. We tried to collect impressions, visions related to the project. And according to these, we elaborated 3 logo proposals, and we shared with them our ideas. And after this meeting, we selected the logo that you see on the roll-up and everywhere. We also developed PowerPoint and Word templates that are going to be put in a repository that Unisalerno created on Google Drive. So you will are invited to put everything also related to your communication in this place, so that we will have an easy access to this content that can be used for promotion outside the consortium. We will, of course, work on the creation of the brand book and the layout for website and social media channel. This will be done by month 5. Regarding the website, we already purchased the domain, and we will work on the structure, the pages, and everything that is going to be in this place. It's a living area, so we will start publishing what we have, but we will have the chance to update it constantly, according also to the activities that will be done within the pilots. The communication kit will include the flyer, so we will draft the test, the layout, and we will prepare the video. So a script, a storyboard, and everything. And we will also prepare a presentation in PowerPoint that will be available for all of you to be used during events or conferences or meetings everywhere that you are attending, and you will be requested to present the project. Of course, we are also monitoring the activities related to communication and dissemination. We use some analytics, web and social media analytics, but also some community engagement index that we have implemented in ICONS and that we normally use in European project. And of course, we will ask each of you every 6 months to provide us with a list of activities that you have done related to communication, which means articles, posts on social media, events you attended, meetings you organized, everything that is valuable for the project. You will receive an Excel sheet and you will fill in and send it back to us. Even because we have to keep track of the KPIs, of course, so it's important that you are aware about the importance of this information provision. So in the next 6 months, these are the activities that we are going to deliver regarding communication, dissemination, and exploitation. So as I said, project branding, website, social media channel, and communication kit. Regarding dissemination, we will start defining a collaboration plan with other projects funded by the European Commission on similar topic to make synergies. And from the exploitation part, we will start with the identification of the key exploitable results, and we'll start approaching the partners with some tools like questionnaires and survey. Of course, in these months, we will also start with the creation of the CDE local desk. So your involvement will be for the creation of this desk, but also in terms of contribution to what you do for what concerns communication and dissemination, and your availability for the participation to a working group to the identification and validation of key exploitable results. Communication channels, here you can see the website address and the email we have created so far, and hashtag. So please be sure to use this in every communication on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn in relation to the HuT. The logo, you see it already. And this is the part related to task 6.1. So now I leave the stage to Brian for the activities related to task 6.2 and 3, and then I take back the stage for the last task, that is 6.4.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I have to start with an apology because I'm not the lead on this. Jo Robbins is the lead, and she hadn't firmed up the details of the presentation before she went sick. So what I'm going to present is pretty much what we agreed at the time of the proposal, and we haven't got to the level of detail that you've just heard for 6.1, sadly, but we will be catching up on that. So if 6.1 is mainly about how communication will be happening, 6.2 is largely about what is going to be communicated, and of course that is critically about what the demonstrators are doing, to some extent what the work packages are doing too, but particularly what the demonstrators are doing. So we see three components to it. Gathering information, so that's primarily the outputs from the demonstrators and the work packages. Disseminating that information, so putting it in a form for it to go out, and also presenting that same information at conferences. So if we look at the gathering, and there is a natural tendency to think you want something finished before you communicate it. That's absolutely the wrong way around. What people are really interested in is the process of particularly getting started. So when the demonstrators start engaging with their stakeholders, there's a story to tell about how that went. And that's something that is actually much more difficult to tell people how to do it than it is to tell people how to write a model, for instance, or whatever. So those stories are really important, and we will be seeking those from the demonstrators as they begin that process of co-design, of formulating what the problem is. Of course, some of you have already done it. And then as we go forward, how that turns into a plan, the process of compromise between what can be provided and what is really wanted, and how you reach that. There's a story to tell there, and that's a story that's really useful for other people. So, don't be shy. It doesn't have to be a lot of detail. It can be, a half page. You can tell a really good story, and actually, beyond that, beyond a page, nobody's going to read it anyway. So, so it's all about stories. It's about building an audience who want to come back and see what the next story is. Make it attractive, make it something that people want to come back to. But the other thing, of course, is that we also need to have the hard material, which you'll be publishing. We need to get references to that so that the people who are reading these stories have the opportunity to then go and look at the detail if they want to. For conferences, it's a little bit different perhaps, because at a conference typically you want to present something that's new, that it's a different sort of audience, but it's also very short. So most conferences will only give you 10 minutes. So we're looking for one thing and presenting that in a way which is convincing, which means you need the audience it needs to be the right message for that audience, and it needs to be supported by the evidence. So that's what I've got on 6.2. On 6.3, what we're talking about here is the networks that are linked through the Legacy Advisory Panel. That comes next, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But in addition, those projects which have intersecting or similar aims that we want to contact, there's a list of those in the proposal, or well, in the plan, but I'm not sure if that list is entirely up to date. So that's something we need to work on. Those two lists, the networks and the similar projects, those are lists which need to grow. We need to open up our communication with them and find appropriate ways of working with them. So that's something that, if you're involved, particularly if you're involved with one of these other projects, as well as the HuT, then let us know about it, and we'll establish some sort of communication there. That's all I have on 6.3. Back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I take the chance to connect with what Brian was just saying. Since within the website, we're going to have even an area dedicated to sister project. So there will be also the chance to offer visibility to the projects that are linked to the HuT in terms of topics. So if you are participating in such initiative, just let us know so that we will have the opportunity to put this information on the website as well. So 6.4, this is the last task related to work package 6, and it's exactly related to the consolidation of the exploitation strategies that we have previously designed in 6.1. So in this task, we're going to have a detailed characterization of key exploitable research results at partner and consortium level. So from each of you individually and then on a global scale, with the idea of using and exploiting them and replicating them even after the end of the project. There will be, we will treat the IP and IPR issues related to the transferability of results, of course. So we will map the IP foreground generated and the protection of the new IP generated after the end of the project. And we will develop an exploitation plan together with the support of Work Package 5. The idea of this plan is to contain some indication about the upscale of transdisciplinary DRR solution. the transferability and replication of them in other demos, activities that can be implemented at academic research level, and the development of networks and forum to knowledge transfer. So how we are going to do it through, as I said, webinar, workshop, questionnaire, interviews, and so on. And we will come back soon with a date proposal, but keep in mind that we're going to organize a first webinar on this topic between January and February next year, so more or less. And the contribution of partners is expected, so you should be proactive, not passive, since this workshop work if we have people interacting and bringing their experience and best practice. This is the list of the key exploitable results. You can find it also on the description of work, and we have 18, so we need to understand if this one that have been identified at proposal stage will remain the same. Some of them will be removed, some of them will be modified. So this is something that is going to be covered by these activities. In the communication plan and exploitation plan, we are going to have a sort of revision during the project duration. So we're going to submit this document, but after the submission, we're going to revise them and update the contents. So they are also living documents that will be constantly updated. This is the staff that is going to work from our side. It will be myself, Chiara, who is the communication manager, and Claudia, she is the business analysis that will take care of all the exploitation activities. And I think that from my side, that's all. So I don't know if you have any questions related to what I have just presented. Otherwise, we'll be surely keep in touch in the next weeks regarding the pending issues I mentioned. So provision of information related to activities you have delivered. What I would like you also to ask is, please, if you can identify a person that we can refer to, so that we are not spamming requests and information to everyone. So if within your organization you have someone that is dedicated to communication and dissemination, please let us know. We will write an email to ask for this reference, so that we create a mailing list only on communication and dissemination, and only those people listed there will be requested with input provision and everything. And that's all.
Thank you. No, with this last point, we can talk about it, how to better create these lists and how to update them regularly. So I have some ideas. We can do something in relation to how to create and update these lists. But I was coming up because if there are specific questions, this is the moment, and they are on stage, Ilaria and Brian, sorry. Otherwise, this is a moment also for a general discussion. We have the wireless mics around. So specific questions. If not, you go back sitting. Okay, there is one. No, wait, Brian. There is a one. Come on. No, come up, Brian. I asked for specific questions first, and after this stage, we keep on with the discussion.
Thanks. Thank you for the presentation to both of you. Just a quick question from the perspective of the demonstrator sites, but also of the Nexus Forum, so both of them. So from the sites, because we will have many templates to fill in, I think it will be good if there is a bit of coordination in the timeline as well across all the templates. This was discussed also yesterday with regard to our package 1, so that we know what we have to deliver by when. And I was wondering, maybe on the meeting that you would like to organize with all the demonstrator sites, if it could be a good occasion to join forces and have on the same workshop agenda also some inputs on the forums that we will organize at each project meeting, because I see many connections. At University of Geneva, we are leading this task. And so maybe it's a good occasion, again, to synergize, not to have too many workshops online, even if it's online.
Yeah, well, if you refer to the exploitation workshop that we're going
Exactly.
to organize between January and February,
Yes.
In our ideas it was to be organized online.
Yes.
Because that is the indication that Claudia provided me with, the fill-in of questionnaires or a survey, she will prepare a document that will be shared among the partners. And according to the info collected, we are planning how to organize it, but I absolutely agree. Since we are already meeting, even if online, it will be good to use the time to also maximize the effect for other needs related to work package 1, for example. So
Yeah.
I agree. We can arrange.
We keep in touch.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I also want to add that, in reply to Anna, then the floor to Joanna, that yes, indeed, we should do. So I take the lead on this. In communicating with all the partners and also demonstrator leaders, for instance, the timeline of the requests and the deadlines for the replies should be coordinated. Otherwise, you have your own agenda, but then WP1 has the agenda, and so like it could create confusion. So like I will think about something that we can devise to coordinate the requests and to properly space them in time with the deadlines. In relation to how to possibly use already a date for an online forum for multiple purposes. Also, let's talk about it and see what we could join or what we maybe don't need to put together. Yes. Joanna.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you for an absolutely excellent presentation. I'm really inspired by this. I really picked up on what was said that we should start before, as we're starting, to start communicating what we're doing. I'm sort of asking myself, because I'm looking now at Valentina and a few others, we're kind of thinking about some very innovative ideas on setting up pilots for different kind of community insurance systems. And I'm just asking myself, when would be a good time to get in touch with you? Or should we, maybe have regular, maybe monthly discussions, tell you what we're doing, you tell us then, hey, this is something where we could start communicating already. Maybe a few more details on that.
I suppose if we know, if we in the communication work package know all the things that are happening, then it may be possible for us to say, that sounds as though it's something that could be of interest more generally. Please, can you let us have it? Have a short paragraph. But I suspect that's going to be quite difficult. It would be much easier if people, whenever they hold something, had it in the front of their minds. Is there something I can share here? And just send it. That's where I would come at it from. But I don't know if you may have thought about it more than I have.
No, I agree. Of course, this very first month will be preparatory to what is going next. So I'm guessing there will be not a huge amount of information because we are not started working properly in the demos. So this is something that will come later. But I would suggest to use this weeks to start thinking about something that you have already planned. For example, in terms of events or information paper that are going to be published that you know already. So everything that could be valuable for us and communicate back. Don't be afraid about bothering. Just write back, and we'll reply saying yes or no according to the content. But it's better to have more and then say we have enough instead of having nothing and asking every single time. So If needed, we can also arrange for a periodic moment to, to share impressions and strategies. But I agree with Brian, it's maybe easier even for you, every single time you are approaching or facing a communication activities or something that in some case is related to what the HuT is approaching, you come back to us and suggest it with link and everything. Then we go and take further info.
Perhaps if I could just add that what you send at that point can be quite brief. And then if we feel it needs a bit more, then we'll come back to you and ask for that. But don't be put off sending something because you feel you've got to sit down and write an essay. We don't need an essay.
And also, I was talking with Ilaria before in relation to some news that are already out there, because we, for instance, in Italian, there is a local online newspaper that put the news of our meeting, and so it's already there, but it's in Italian, so that sort of news you want to know that they happen, even if they are in local language. So I'm going to send you the link. And we will have soon a meeting that is on the 3rd of November for our local Nexus Forum. We will, properly organize not only the communication, local communication for that one, but also the feedback for you to tell you what happened with pictures and stuff.
Actually, that's a good point, because it reminds me of the issue of local communication versus project-wide communication. And the assumption is that each of the demonstrators has its own local communication plan with the people who are involved, and that will all be going forward anyway. And we won't get involved with that, except obviously some of what you're doing there will be useful to share with other people.
Yeah.
Okay, next. So please.
Very quickly, just to according to this, for example, I mentioned that the channels that we're going to create for the project, that are the ones listed in my previous slide. But at local level, if you're using other channels, for example, Facebook, and it works, go on using it and let us know, because of course we don't want to replace what is already there and is working. We want to be informed, but your local activities should be maintained. So just to be sure that the channels we mentioned are at project level, but at local level still remains the strategy that you have in place.
Thank you very much. The floor to our project officer, Antonio.
Hello, thank you. I just arrived now for this meeting, so I am the project officer, Antonio Fernando Rañada, and I will be on the Brussels side of the project. And I had a comment on some of the slides that were presented, and I'm very happy to see that communication is in good hands. I saw that you plan to have a video, and I would like to emphasize the importance of video, because on our side we also have dissemination instruments, and we like to promote the projects as much as we can. And very often we have requests coming from DG Home and from other parts of the Commission asking for a project with a video. And very often we say, do you have a good project that we can show? Yes. Does it have a video? No. Do you have another one? So it is very important that you have videos that are short, concise, but very clear, something that your grandmother would understand. Of course, you can have as many videos as you want, and the more the better, but at least 1 or 2 videos, which like between 1 and 3 minutes, which are very clear, very to the point, no consortium composition, no work packages, just we are this project and we're doing this and we are aiming to achieve these objectives. And then something really punchy that we can hand out to the Commission, to the commissioners, to the directors when they ask for videos. So that's my advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Next in line is Ilan. Switch it on.
Check 1, 2. Okay, thank you. Ilan from UCL. And just also on the video note to explain that we are hoping for some artistic output, so we'll see what we can do. I'm also curious, when we report, do they have to be exclusive to the HuT, or can we report the same output to different projects? And the other question is, can we just use the HuT name and logo, or do we need permission? Thank you.
Sorry, the second question I didn't get. The first one I understood.
So we may have a blog which covers more than one project. Can we report it to more than one project, or does every communication output have to be exclusive to
Yeah,
the
that
HuT?
one, yes. And the second one, the second question?
Is in terms of whether we can just use the logo and name of the HuT, or whether we need permission.
Ilaria, she may say something, so please give a mic to Ilaria, and then I will say something as well.
No, you can use it. You can use it. We will prepare the brand book, which includes the logo and the rules on how to use it, the colors, so all the practical info to use it, but you can go on and use it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would say the same. Yeah, if there are no objections about it also from the EU side. No, I'm saying, yeah, we can report and also use the same product for multiple actions or projects that we are doing. Yes, of course. No, we are working synergically with ourselves as well in terms of like the different activities that we are doing. So yeah, absolutely, I don't see any objection to that. Any other comment? If not, indeed, in the program, what we wrote, this is also a moment for discussing about our strategy, short-term strategy, relatively short-term strategy. Next year, how are we planning to get together, but also, let's say, like to disseminate at conference levels, gatherings levels, activities, events that are happening. So given that we are recording this presentation, I'm not taking notes, Guido maybe is taking notes, but any idea about what's coming next, let's say in the next couple of months, the next 12 months, in the next year, that could be of interest for the HuT or for parts of the HuT, places we have to be or to go. For sure, I can say that we will be at EGU somehow. Many of us are at EGU, will be there for our own things. But also together, I don't see her now, but with Marlene, I see her there. She's an EGU officer, but also you will see her soon. She's a member of the Legacy Advisory Panel. We will try to set up a specific time for creating synergies between ongoing projects, okay? But, okay, the EGU is a venue. It will be in April next year. Any other ideas, suggestions, places, events, happenings? Please, Ilan.
Yesterday was the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, as we heard, and Karina spent a lot of the past 2 days preparing materials. So we did release a lot, including mentioning the HuT. We'll report that. People here may or may not be going to the Climate Change COP27. I'm not, but if people are going, it would be a good place to disseminate it. And there are other meetings related to UNDRR and UNFCCC, which people may be turning up in advisory capacities. So scientific conferences, absolutely, but also think of our outreach and policy networks.
Oh, thank you for your comment. I want to mention that, of course, we are going and we will be participating to a lot of events in the next 12 months for different reasons. So we will go there on our capacity, but also, not on behalf of the HuT, but by mentioning what we are doing here and in other places, yes. But we have some ideas about places or location or events where we may want to meet. We may want to organize a side thing besides being there. Please, then Marlene, and then there, and then Guido. So in the order, two there.
Yeah, so indeed, I'm also leading an EU project funded last year, and our project officer recommended the European Climate Change Adaptation Conference, ECA, which is happening upcoming summer. Oh, you were going to say that? Sorry.
It's happening when?
Upcoming summer, I think June, mid-June, probably, something like that. I think that would be perfect place because it's very European focused and seeing all your demonstrators being.
No, because if we have something on our radars, then
Yeah.
we may interact more
Yeah.
proactively to decide what to do where. But
Yeah.
yes, let's
And
come
so,
up with some ideas. Yeah.
Exactly, and so this one will also be attended by the Myriad EU project. I imagine Kees van Westers, Paratus will also be there, so I think it would be again a great place to also meet across projects.
There. Karina.
Sorry, Karina, UCL. Just to let you know that we are organising a large conference focused on warnings in June next year. So we're in the process of doing that. So we will liaise, and hopefully it would be great to see some of you there in London.
So the spring is going to be full of events. For now, no, we have April, June. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other suggestion? Okay, at the moment, notice coming out rather than this, and and any other comment in general. Otherwise, we move on with the program. Any other comment? All right. Think about eventually, other possible places. Although, the project is just starting, so the first year is we have less to. Than what we will have in the next few years. Okay, anyway, let's move on. So now it's the time, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm seeing the preview of the presentation of the Legacy Advisory Panel, and the members of the Legacy Advisory Panels will present themselves and the networks associated with them. Manfred is the first person that will come on the stage on behalf of LandAware. Please, Manfred.
So thank you and good morning. I would like just to give you a short background about myself, my background, since I'm not a project partner here. I'm representing actually a research institute in Switzerland that is in the ETH domain, working a lot with natural hazards and warnings. And I'm heading here a unit of 40 scientists on flood, drought, debris flow, and landslide management. So this project really matches very well with the unit I'm representing here. But maybe more interesting for you also is that I'm a member of the coordination body for official federal natural hazard warnings in Switzerland. So this is a body of about 13 people from Meteo-Swiss, Federal Office of the Environment, the Swiss Seismological Service, and the snow avalanche people in Davos. So we are basically discussing what is discussed here, both from technical issues to very much communication and of the Swiss warnings, official warnings. But here I'm representing the LandAware, an international network on landslide early warning systems that has been founded in 2020. So it's quite a young organization. It's bottom-up very much, 260 experts on landslide early warning systems from 50 countries. Across all the world, it's very nice to see it's not only a European project, it's really across the whole world. And of course, our main goal is to exchange the experiences and the innovations in that specific field of landslide early warning. What kind of activities do we have? That's maybe the core of our activities are thematic working groups that meet regularly, mostly online, on specific topics, be it on innovations or be it on challenges related to operational warnings. We also have blogs and news on a specific website to inform this community. We have online events, for example, a very nice event that lasted 24 hours, around-the-clock event online. It's very specific. And we also had the first physical meeting last week in Switzerland of a subgroup of 50 people joined this workshop. And as you can see, the weather was nice, and also the atmosphere of this group was very nice. And yeah, it's a young organization still. So what's my role here? I see myself here as the one who will transport what's coming up in this project here to this community. I have already noticed that the overarching goal of this project here, of leveraging innovations and best practices, is very much in line with the objective of land aware. It matches very well. And I see also this nexus of the human component, the technical system. This is also the key in our organization. And in that sense, I can take a lot from this project here. I also noticed that we cannot make only use of these specific demonstrators here in the projects that actually deal with landslides. I think I can also take a lot from the other demonstrators that do not treat landslides, but other issues, and I can take a lot from these demonstrators as well. For me, it was very interesting to see this day yesterday. It was still a little bit a phase of chaos, maybe, a first phase of finding common ground, and that told me also that this is not just a designed project yet. It's something that needs to be designed still. And I think this, what happened yesterday with this target market was very successful in shaping and further developing that project here. So I appreciated that very much. Now, of course, my goal will be to bridge from this project to this land-aware community by informing regularly. And of course, I will try to find out where are the opportunities for land-aware members to maybe also contribute to this here. I see there might be upcoming opportunities to also contribute to these demonstrators from others, if that is appreciated here. And what I also see that there is a lot of competence here on this human social component, which is a little bit missing maybe, or less represented in our land-aware network. So I think I can take a lot from this part here and strengthen in that sense also our network. With that, I would like to thank you very much for letting land-aware be part of this project here. And I'm looking very much forward to following up year by year, and maybe more often than that. Thank you.
I had forgotten my mic. The next in line is Brian for High Water.
So now I'm me. I'm not Joe anymore. So, yeah, the High Impact Weather Project is a 10-year project of the World Meteorological Organization. Like all such projects, its funding is only for meetings, so it effectively has the same role as a network. The context for the project was that there have been enormous improvements in our capabilities, and yet with growing vulnerability, changing climate, we see an increasing number of weather-related disasters. There was a very considerable reduction in the number of fatalities from natural disasters over many years. That seems to have stalled, which is very worrying, and economic costs are escalating at a very rapid rate. So in 2015, and I'm sure many of you are very aware of this, but 2015, the Sendai Framework was agreed to reduce the impact of natural hazards by 2030. And they in analysing the situation, they could see a number of risk increasing factors which needed to be countered by increasing the understanding people have of hazards, by improving governance, by investing in disaster risk reduction, and by better preparedness. And in particular, Target G, the access to early warning systems, risk information and assessments, was something that the High Weather Project specifically focused on. And of course, subsequently, we've had the UN Secretary General's call for everyone to have access to early warnings, which is really a reinforcement of this Target G. So the structure of the High Impact Weather Project, we have 5 thematic working groups on predictability of the weather, forecasting of the weather, and of the hazard, the vulnerability and risk, forecasting of taking that into account and forecasting the impact, then communicating the warning, and overall evaluation. And you can see the main hazards we're concerned with there. Most of the work over the first 5 years was done in those groups, and the result of that was the book, which I will give the reference to at the end. However, we're now working in 4 cross-cutting projects within High Weather. One is on citizen science, which I won't say a lot more about. The second one is on the treating the whole warning process as a value chain and looking at the gaps in that value chain, why the information doesn't process from one end to the other, why it gets lost, and why people don't do what you would hope they would do given the warning. We're also carrying out a review of impact-based warnings, which are very much the way in which weather services are moving these days, but we observe that there is considerable gaps at the moment in our understanding of how to produce them, what it is about impact-based warnings that makes people respond better, or even there is, in some researchers questioned whether they do respond better to impact-based warnings. So that's following up. And then there is a specific activity that we're hoping to carry out, a social science experiment within the Paris 24 Olympics as a research demonstration project. So our concept of the value chain is, many of you have seen it, and so we observe that there are many organizations involved in the warning chain. There's lots of expertise there, but they talk different languages, they have different cultures, and often the information from one area of expertise gets lost in transmission to the next one. So the communication issue isn't just at the end of the chain, it's all the way along, and our aim is to build bridges, those bridges which enable the information to be better communicated. Here's an example of a risk-based warning in the UK. This is from our Flood Forecasting Centre. It is inherently probabilistic, it is inherently impact-based, and we believe that that builds trust in the forecast. I've run out of time, so I should move on. We are very aware that the whole process of producing a warning doesn't just need to look at the initial hazard, it needs to look at what hazards result from that initial hazard through the cascade, and the impacts, interestingly, the impacts often become the hazard all the way down that cascade. And ultimately, of course, you could argue that the common denominator of the impact is distress for people at the bottom there. So in the value chain project, we've produced this template to collect information in such a way that we hope we will be able to compare different warning systems and the performance of different warning systems in specific situations, specific disasters. So we have an initial very simple part, which is about collecting the essential information, and that's going to be folded in with the new WMO catalogue of extreme events. And then in the second part, we look at each of the stages of the warning production process, and we collect information about how that worked, who did what they did, and how it worked. And so what I'm hoping to do with the demonstrators is to collect information initially on how it's supposed to work, who does what they do, and how it's communicated all the way along the chain, then look at how that's going to be changed by the work of the demonstrator, and then if there are some events, to look at how it actually worked. And to do that in such a way that we can look across all the demonstrators and learn generic lessons that everyone can share. And then at the end, we have a general assessment process. Here's an example of one I did earlier, or actually 10 I did earlier last year. Because these were all actual disasters, of course, there is always a failure, because if there was no failure at any point along the chain, then there would be no disaster. But so the intensity of the colouring here indicates the success of providing the information that was needed in order to protect the people at the end of the chain. And you can see that some of them, most of them actually had very good weather forecasts. In some of them, everything went wrong at the point of working out what the impact would be. Either it wasn't worked out or it wasn't done effectively. Nearly all of them went wrong somewhere between the warning and the response. I mean, this is just a first go, but it provides the sort of information that will enable us to analyse warnings in aggregate. So just to finish with then our book, Towards the Perfect Weather Warning, is now available. It's free access, it's online. Do download it if you're interested, and the DOI is there. And if you don't take a picture of it there, then just ask me and I'll send you the link. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brian. Okay, next in line is Marlene.
Hello, everyone. There it is. So for those of you I didn't get a chance to talk to yet, my name is Marleen de Ruiter. I'm an assistant professor in multi-hazard risk at the Institute for Environmental Studies at the VU University Amsterdam. I'm here to share with you my RiskHan network, but I also want to share a little bit about the Myriad EU project that I lead. But I'll start with the RiskHan. How do I go to the next slide? Yep. Great. Can I just get a show of hands of people who are already familiar with the RiskHan network? Great. It's great to see some hands. So you can continue reading your emails for the next 2 minutes, and I'll pick you back up when we're at Myriad. For all the others, RiskHan is a knowledge action network on the emergent risks and extreme events, and it's a joint initiative by these 4 parties. As we all know too well, there's a fundamental lack of understanding of how human, ecological, and physical processes interact and how they contribute to systemic risk, and also what the dynamics are from cascades of impacts as a result of systemic risk. And so RiskHan aims to provide an open global platform of for scientific communities who are all working from different disciplines on unpacking this notion of systemic risk to get together and work on that. So they're really trying to bring not only multidisciplinary, also mono and interdisciplinary people together. And the way they're organized is along these 9 different working groups. So in white, you can see the names of the people who lead each of these individual working groups. And as you can see in the top right corner, together with Faith Taylor from King's College, Robert Sakits from YASA, and Brian, because I feel like Brian is everywhere, I lead the Early Warning for Systemic Risk working group. And so each of these working groups organize their own events. So Robbie and I, for the early warning one, we organize a monthly webinar series the last Thursday of each month, where we invite authors of recent publications to share what they've done and also have lots of room for discussion with others. And so I can imagine that maybe from next year onwards, for the duration of the project, we can have an annual webinar in our working group where you can present as HuT, the results from your demonstrators, but maybe also some overarching results across the demonstrators. I'm happy to facilitate that. RISCAN also really wants these working groups to be a bottom-up thing. So if you have any ideas of how you would want to contribute to these different working groups, I know Kai and Colin's compound event ones is very active, and also Alessio and Jana's climate risk modeling is also very active, and there's also opportunity to collaborate across working groups and create shared events. So yeah, come talk to me if you have any ideas of how you want to contribute, and if you want to know more, you can just sign up on the website. There's mailing lists for all the different working groups. Just want to point out 2 things that I think may be interesting for you. So next week, the Compound Events Working Group is organizing talks by people who contribute to the Cascades project. And then on the top, Robbie and I, in 2 weeks from now, invited Tirsa Hermans to give a talk about the integration of local and scientific knowledge into early warning systems. So please sign up. I hope to see many of you there. Then getting back everyone who was just getting to their emails, and now we're going to the Myriad EU project. So this is a Horizon 2020 funded project led by Philip Ward and myself that started last year, September. And in Myriad, we really want to contribute to this change, this paradigm shift. I think others already mentioned those hazard silos we're stuck in. So we really want to break through those hazard silos and work towards getting a better understanding and better ways of both quantitatively and qualitatively assessing and managing multi-hazard risk. And so by doing so, we really hope to better support policymakers who need to address multi-risk and being able to account for potential trade-offs and synergies between disaster risk reduction measures that are generally focused on one hazard. And so the way we do that in Myriad is that we account for all kinds of different hazard interactions, but we also look at both climatic and non-climatic hazards. So I think we account for about 14 different hazards. We look at all kinds of different dynamics and feedbacks that exist between risk and the risk components. Within our consortium, we have representatives from 6 different stakeholder representatives from 6 different sectors. And we do our work in 5 pilot regions in Europe, but also across the regions and also larger scale global and more larger scale research. These are the 18 different partners in Myriad, and well, quite a few are also here, so it's great to see you. And this is the local team, and if you want to reach out, please connect either on RISCAN or on Myriad. Happy to have a chat. Thanks.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you very much. And then Irene, next in line.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Thank you, yes. My name is Irene Amuron, and I work with the Red Cross Red Crescent Climate Center. I am the program manager, and I also represent the Anticipation Hub. And my role here is specific to the Anticipation Hub. And before I start, I would just like through a show of hands to get to know how many of you can list 10 people and above since you came here on Wednesday. Like, you know everybody's name, like 10 people and above, by show of hands. I'm not going to ask you to list their names. Okay, it's only 4, 5, 8. Only 3, 4? Okay, so we need to get to know each other more, and this is where the hub comes in, because we facilitate interactions across. Okay, how do I move this thing? Middle? All right, thanks. Okay. All right, a quick brief on anticipatory action. So the Red Cross, Red Crescent, and various partners, we are scaling up anticipatory action. And basically with this, we are saying what actions can we take given the early warning information that we have. And so we define anticipatory action with 3 factors. That is the time factor, taking action before the event happens, the actions with a purpose to prevent or mitigate impact, and then this action is taken based on a prediction. It could be a forecast, it could be a predictive analysis. And through the Anticipatory Action Task Force, which involves various stakeholders, the WFP, the UN, START Network, IFRC, and others, so far we have mapped over 70 initiatives on anticipatory action that are happening globally across over 35 countries. And then our aim and goal is to scale up anticipatory action. And I think this ties in nicely with what the HuT is doing, in that we want to provide a safe haven. And with a safe haven, we are saying, how can we make early warning systems inclusive to be able to ensure that we have a resilient community? So our goals align, and that is very exciting. A quick brief about the Anticipation Hub. The Anticipation Hub was launched in 2020, and this was based on a need by various partners who are implementing anticipatory actions, in which they said they preferred they would have a platform where information around anticipatory action could be accessed. And so we had interviews, we did explorations with different stakeholders in terms of what would this look like, and this gave birth to the Anticipation Hub. This is an initiative which is hosted by the German Red Cross, the IFRC, and the Climate Center to build on our experience, vast experience on anticipatory action, or focus-based action. By then, we used to call it focus-based financing. And this platform brings together partners across the different divide, the NGO, the academia, think tanks, and all this, on anticipatory action. And we would like to learn and do anticipatory action better together and more. Our vision, we do have a strategy, 2021-2024, that was informed by consultations with various partners. If you're interested, check out the Anticipation Hub website. I will not get into the details of the vision, but I will look at the aim that we would like to support partners, scientists, and policymakers to do more anticipatory action, to do it better and do it together, so that we can contribute to a culture of anticipatory action. And again, this also aligns with most of the objectives that the partners have within the hub. What does our team look like? We are spread over 27 countries, and we're also diverse, that we do have colleagues all over the globe. And for those of you who've had an opportunity to visit the Anticipation website, so this is how, when you get to the landing page, this is what it looks like. So we have 4 modules, where under the Learn module, we are looking at methodologies, lessons learned, training resources, and research, and also emerging topics around anticipatory action. And then under Experience, it's about what our partners doing, and I'm excited that this links to Work Package 6, so would like to see more of what the different partners are doing here, reflected within the hub. And then also we do have databases, the trigger database, what triggers are different organizations using to trigger different actions for various hazards. We are looking at the evidence, what is available around anticipatory action, what financing modalities are available, the regional updates, then the networking. We are looking at the current networks that we do have at national, global, and regional levels, and then advocacy. How can we put our message across to ensure that we have a stronger community of practice? We do have a governance structure that has the hub coordination team, for which I'm a part of, and then partners. I am hoping that most of you who are not partners would be interested to join partners of the hub. Currently, we are over 100 partners who are engaged on anticipatory action, and also who are part of the hub, as you can see. Of course, it's lots of Red Crossy, but we are expanding the net to ensure that we have more non-Red Cross people on board. And so I'm excited that you are also my potential partners to be able to join. And Finally, how can you get involved? So linking again to Work Package 6, we are hoping that you would be able to join us. For example, one of our main events are dialogue platforms that we facilitate at regional and global level. So the Global Dialogue Platform will happen this year in December 6th to 8th, and it will be in Germany. We do this on an annual basis, and we'll be excited to have people join and then share with us your stories and your experiences around anticipatory action, early warning and early actions, and we'd be happy to let the whole world know what you're doing. Allow me in the less than a few seconds left, so my impressions of the HuT, and this was based on my expectation, and I'm excited that my expectations have been fulfilled, and given the diversity of the partners that are involved in this project, I felt that we all are like people who are coming for a party, and to this party, we are all coming with a dish. And so our party is the hub, and all of you here are carrying a dish, and this dish is the expertise that you're bringing to the hub. And so with all the resources we are bringing, with the experiences, with the learnings that we are bringing, I think for me this will be a very, very interesting party that we are excited to be a part of it. We're excited to ensure that we strengthen the collaborations that we are doing between here and externally. And so as we start this partying, let's enjoy the moment. Let's bring more food, let's bring more drinks, but don't lose your voice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Also for this final reference to the day yesterday's food parties. So next in line should be Gavin, white, connected. Here you are. We see your face here on the big screen. Thank you very much, Gavin. So I guess you can start talking, sharing your screen. The floor is yours. Thanks.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. Can I put my slides up? Just give me 1 second. Can you now see my slide? Oh, that's perfect. I can actually see it myself. Great. So good morning, everyone. Gavin White, calling in from the Risk-Informed Early Action Partnership. It's been really amazing to be able to follow all of your discussions over the last 2 days. Thank you so much for setting up this virtual possibility. So there are some good things coming out of COVID. This has been really amazing. Just listening in, being this silent observer, and right now, just very happy to follow on all these other legacy partners, because I think there's a lot of linkages with what we do. I'll touch on very briefly on introduction and then offer some resources about the Risk-Informed Early Action Partnership. So the first thing is, what is this partnership? So the overall objective is a global initiative to scale up early action, so very specifically on early action, to make 1 billion people safer from disasters. So as you can see, a very close link to the work in this discussion, with a very targeted entry point around the early action components. So when we talk about early action, there is a component that is the anticipatory action, that is the language that tends to be used more in the humanitarian section. So it's really good to come right after I read to be able to mention how all the work that the Anticipation Hub and other humanitarian actors are doing, they're a bit ahead of the curve. There's been a lot of work done by humanitarian actors about making sure that we're able to do more to address the risks. But at this stage, what we're trying to see is, what does that actually mean for scaling up? And to scale up, we have to better connect this work to other sectors, better connect it to the climate community, to the development community. And this is the logic behind it. It was formed in 2019 as one of these UN Climate Action Summit initiatives. And as you will see, is one of these initiatives that really tries to connect different governments, different sectors, different partners. And I'm showing here, these are the founding partners. So you'll see it's quite different to what we're used to, because this is not really an intergovernmental, it is set up by governments, but it also includes a lot of civil society networks. It includes a lot of academics. It includes different UN agencies. And actually, some of them are actually in GNDR, that is one of the biggest networks around disaster risk reduction, is able to bring a lot of the civil society partners at the table. the Anticipation Hub, and as well as the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent, and the 192 national societies are also joining into these discussions. I mentioned some of the academics, so UCL, Warning Research Center, has been very active in really pushing for greater understanding of the academic component. Met Office is one of the founding partners as well. So there's been a lot of discussions as to how we can better connect these different partners. Because I don't have that much time, I'll just try to and what is relevance for this initiative, because ultimately this is about the legacy. What is a legacy that this project will leave? How can it connect to some of these initiatives like REAP to take this knowledge forward? So we have 4 targets that guide our work. The first one has to do with the legislative frameworks, the policy and legislative environment. There's going to be a lot of linkages with the work package 3 around governance. We're very much trying to see how we can align climate policy as well as DR work in a lot of the legislative and policy frameworks. Target 2 is looking at the financing and delivery mechanisms, looking at how we can factor in insurance models, social protection. I think there's also going to be linkages with the risk finance instrument discussions in the work package 3. So I think that's going to be another one that'll be another entry point potentially to relay some of the findings and discussions that come out of this project. Target 3 looks at the early warning system infrastructure and institutions and is really trying to mobilize all the funding. One of the reasons I wasn't able to join this week in person is in parallel, we're having a series of consultations. One of them is a donor consultation that is taking place in the UK this week, bringing, as you saw, a lot of the donors that I mentioned on the earlier slide, France, Germany, UK, US, and so forth, to try to understand how we can really scale up the money required to reach this universal coverage for early warning, which is ultimately wanted to reach, and making sure that we're making 1 billion people among the most vulnerable safer. This third target, I think, will link quite well to the work package 4 around science and nexus modeling. How can we connect the different dots? But also work package 5 around the transferability of the knowledge across experts and policymakers. And finally, the last target, target 4, as you can read here, is related to reaching more people, making sure that more people can access improved early warning systems, with a special emphasis on heat waves. But there's a lot of work that we're doing around that I think will be very relevant to the work package 2 around human behavior. Karina, who's involved in those discussions, mentioned a lot of the focus and how that could be relevant, how it could tie into the UN's Early Warning for All initiative, the role of warning systems, public engagement, cultural change. All these pieces fit very well with the discussions to reach this target 4. So as you can see, it's about building momentum and making sure that we're able to reach the scale that all the work that we do around disaster risk reduction, and specifically making sure that early warnings lead to action on the ground, can be reaching the most vulnerable. I believe my time is almost up or pretty much up, so I'll just touch on some of the resources that you can reach into. Again, I will not go into any detail, but you will find a presentation along with the other documents, and you can go that in your own time. Just important, I think, here on the first one around generating political momentum. This is how we work. We try to bring all the political leaders together, making sure that there is an understanding that this is a common goal that really benefits all countries, even when they may not agree politically on other matters. And I think this will touch on a lot of the work package 1 on local discussions, how do we get political momentum at local level, work package 5 around the linkages back to experts and policymakers, and also I think work package 6 in terms of outreach. There's a lot that we can do using the academic findings to push for this agenda. And then we foster collaboration towards creating an enabling environment. On fostering collaboration, series of working groups that look at the blockages, and I think will be, again, helpful to have more academic input. Brian has been very involved, as someone was mentioning. Brian is everywhere. Brian has been very involved in a lot of these discussions, including in some of the inputs around the early warning for all design. Karina has been a key component of this process, so again, a lot of linkages there. And again, Karina has been very forceful in making sure that there is this connection to our discussions taking place through REAP. And then, as I mentioned, Anticipation Hub is a critical connector across the humanitarian sector, GNDR across the civil society, and I'm looking forward to meeting some of the other organizations that we're able to present also today. So this ends my presentation, but just for information, there are more resources available. Find videos as to how we can connect these political leaders. These are all heads of UN agencies or political leaders from different countries. We are releasing also a glossary. This was released yesterday. All this is available online. There's a strategic vision framework for action, an annual report that explains the status of early action across the financing sector and so forth. And then we do countries case studies to look at specific contexts. You can see here, I'm going through too fast for you to read, but just know that we produced a 10 last year, and there will be another 10 country case studies released this year. I went way over my time, so sincere apologies, but again, thank you very much for having me here. I'm available here as part of the REAP partnership to any questions or thought that you may want. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this presentation, Gavin, and sorry you couldn't be here. Can we get the light on stage? Thanks. You couldn't be here, but you were with us presenting a lot of information from you, but also from the other members of the LAP, we call it that way, the Legacy Advisory Panel. So it was a very interesting session, in my opinion, to hear from all of you, and also your enthusiastic participation was very, I'm proud of that, and I thank you all. There is some time in the program for discussion, although we are slightly late on schedule, but so we thought of a small discussion. If there is anybody from the floor who wants to say something in relation to what we just heard, this is the time, otherwise we have a general discussion at the end anyway, during the General Assembly. Any comment, specific comment now from the floor? If not, I thank Gavin. The others are here with us, so we are going to have a coffee break now. You are not, but thank you very much. And coffee break time. We are slightly late on schedule, but not too much. I would say let's reconvene at 11 a.m. sharp, like in 20 minutes or so that we have the presentation from the EU officer and the rest of the morning. Thank you very much. Enjoy your coffee. Hold on a second. I had an idea. Alfonso, everybody. I forgot about my own idea. Let's take this chance to have a second group picture. This time we do it inside. If we can have... okay, it's already there. Il tappo è già lì. Yes, we can come here. There are different levels. See, the stage is properly arranged for the group photo that I wanted to take.